So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, I am proud and honored to welcome the renowned artist, Wang Linxu, to campus. Now, Professor Wang's beautiful artwork graces museums and exhibitions all over the world, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Art Museum of Beijing's Fine Art Academy, and galleries in Singapore, Tokyo, and Brazil. He's also exhibited in Paris. You can also find his artwork in the United States Library of Congress and even the United Nations headquarters. Professor Wang was an art consultant for the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where he lives and he works. His art is based on Chinese philosophy, culture, and artistic traditions, but his experimental and unusual style has become a tradition of its own, of Eastern Impressionism and Western abstraction, of ink and oil, of light and of depth. Now we're delighted to host Professor Wang today and excited to watch him perform his artwork, for it is indeed a performance, one that we cannot wait to see. Now we have a number of distinguished guests here today and lots of visitors who have joined us for this special demonstration, including members of our Board of Visitors and also our Senior Vice President of the University of Massachusetts System, Marcy Williams, who should be here. And also, Marcy is here now. I see you, Marcy. And also our President, Robert Caret. I also know that many of our professors are here. Our professors of art, including Professor Paul Tucker, and some of them have brought their classes with them today. You are in for a treat. Finally, I want to say, we're going to get started very shortly, but before we get started, I want to introduce the person who made this gathering possible, who invited us all here to watch the brilliant artist perform his craft. University of Massachusetts President Robert Caret. Now, President Caret called me up this last spring and said, listen, I have a treat for you. A friend of mine is going to come to the United States and I want to feature him on your campus. He's an unbelievable artist and we want to bring him before you today. So without further ado, President Robert Caret.
Chancellor Motley always does energetic introductions, and I'm pleased to be here with him today. I want to introduce first, and I will talk about him in a moment, but you've just met Professor Wang, who has been a good friend for many years. He also has with him his son, Hao, somewhere running around. Hao is helping set up the demonstrations, and his wife, Li Lin. So we're pleased to have the majority of the Wang family with us today. My history with Mr. Wang goes back to about 1998, 1999, when I was president of San Jose State University in California. The Wangs, in addition to living in Beijing, have a home in California. I met him through a colleague. We became good friends and have been connecting off and on ever since. He came to the university at that time in California and did a demonstration, as he is doing here today, of the kind of work he did at that time, which is different than the work he is doing at the moment. And then I moved and became the president of Towson University in Maryland. And Mr. Wang flew over from China and did a demonstration at Towson University. And he was gracious enough to agree to come back now that I'm at the University of Massachusetts and do a demonstration here. And as the Chancellor indicated, he does it with vim and vigor. He does it with energy. And it's always exciting to watch him. We've crossed paths on other occasions. I've gone to openings of his exhibits in New York. We've met in Beijing a couple of times. I've been to his studio there. He's just a wonderful person, has done wonderful things with his artwork. He began his study of art at the age of 6, so he's been doing this for a while. He's nationally known in China particularly, but internationally in general. He has been educated in the fine arts at several universities in China. He has over 500 works that are published in journals, magazines, and newspapers, over 300 pieces that are hanging in galleries, museums, and various offices around the globe. And a couple of the points in history that I think are particularly important. When the United Nations celebrated its 50th anniversary, they had a competition, and Mr. Wang was selected to do a piece to celebrate that 50th anniversary. It hangs in the foyer of the United Nations. It's called 50 Pieces of Bamboo. It's a huge piece covering the entire wall, and it has 50 pieces of bamboo commemorating the 50th anniversary of the UN. In 2013, when the United Nations refurbished the security chamber, Mr. Wang came over and donated 2 new pieces of his new work to them. One is called Home of Us All, and the other, The Interactive World. Each of these pieces is roughly 20 to 30 meters in size. So you get a sense of the scope and size of the work beyond the work he is displaying here today. He started off as a traditional bamboo artist and still does wonderful work in bamboo. He has many books published, and if you Google him, you can see those. He has YouTubes. But he has moved more recently to transcendental art, as he calls it, transcendental imagery, which is what he has on display today and what he will demonstrate today. In addition to being an artist, he is well known in his country as a leader in education, and has served at various times, including some current, with such distinction as follows. First-class national artist for China, expert with special allowance for the State Council of China, National Committee on Chinese Political Consultative Conference, VP and professor at the College of the Nationalities in China. He's also a peace envoy for the United Nations. He'll actually be going to Washington from here as part of his United Nations role. He has many other roles and responsibilities and honors. Again, if you Google him, you can get the full view of what he's done over his lifetime. He uses his art to connect man and nature and to send a message of tranquility. And today he will show us a demonstration which will be followed by a reception. So I give you Mr. Wang Linxu, Professor of Art from China.
So Professor Wang is going to start the beginning stage of his painting. As President Caret just introduced, this is a traditional Chinese painting, which Professor Wang is going to demonstrate within 1 hour. But you can see how fascinating his work will be, because before I met with Professor Wang, I actually watched the painting demo he did 2 years ago at Towson University. It was quite amazing. So now he's mixing with all the painting materials. 这是茶水吗? So first he's going to use the Chinese black tea water as a base of his painting materials. And then he's going to mix with different colors. This black ink water actually comes from the trees, the plants. So now it's going to it's mixing with the Chinese traditional black tea water. So this is the first stroke. The first piece is done. So now he's mixing with the black tea water and red color ink, some yellow color, and I saw it's very interesting. That's the silver ash color with some warm water. It seems like he's cooking, but actually it's not. He's doing some fascinating artwork here. as you just saw the movements, the seams are very soft. Actually, it needs a lot of strength as it's required for the Chinese traditional painting. So he just mixed with some dark green, yellow and purple, and white. So he just spilled this type of ink over that red color ink he just did. So you can see the transparency and then contrast of, of his strokes. Professor Wang's wife, Ling, just mentioned sometimes she helps her husband to mix the materials. Oh, by the way, the blank paper, these 3 pieces of blank paper, they are traditionally unique Chinese rice paper, so that they can sustain such very thick color. I'm not sure if you ever seen the traditional Chinese painting, because usually it's painted with black and white ink. But Professor Wang's painting is quite unique because he utilized some of the Western styles into his painting. So that way it looks very colorful. And it gives people a hope of life to view on his paintings. I see he just added some dark green color. So actually, as you can see, that kind of the red-orange color, that's the foliage of Boston. So now he's painting the fall season in Boston, actually just close by our campus. He just added some purified water. I'm guessing maybe he wants to understand that the painting is more real, it's vivid. I guess this right now it's spreading out. The brown color Professor Wang just mentioned it's the mountains across the water over there. And the dark green actually color, he's trying to demonstrate the grass by the water. And this is actually the pace of his painting. This is not done yet. This is just the beginning stage. You will see the second stage and the last stage. And you will see, wow, this is amazing after you watch the entire demonstration. He just added some gold here. It looks like a real gold, actually, but just gold color. That yellow color, he wants to show the changing season of how foliage look like in Boston. More golden color on the top of the foliage. It will be dried out after a few minutes. Dotting some green. Professor Wang just mentioned right now you should focus on the changes of different colors. especially the dark green colors. So he's going to use the dryer to dry it out. I think because the temperature is pretty low here. But it's interesting, isn't it? No voice? No comments? Yeah. Give him applause. Very good. So as Professor Wang is drying the painting out, the colors, some of the other colors on the base layers are flowing down from the top to the bottom. Now you can see the whole picture. He's painting the scene. Actually, you can see from here, across the window, the scene at the Boston Harbor. Mr. Wang just said it will look so different after it's dried out. So the first stage of this painting is done. This is considered as the base of the painting. You will see more details later on. Any questions? Professor Wang just said he can take some questions before he moves on to the second stage.
第二呢，用水的方式，用这个水呀、用水和墨和色彩的结合，就是说我把用中国画的水墨变成了用西洋画的色彩，但是表述的是中国画的形式，而且是一种自由的表现，不是手绘的，是自由的表现。
So he said first he used the Chinese traditional rice paper and then some of Chinese traditional ink water mixed with the golden ash, silver ash, some of the orange color as he wants to, portray the foliage colors in Boston. So even though it's a traditional Chinese painting, but it looks like a Western oil color painting. So his painting is more to express a kind of freedom to people.
它是用心灵的表述，所以我没有画笔，完全是用这个心灵的表述，去观想的是大自然是什么样，对象是什么样，而且用自由的方式把它画出来，而且不是用画笔把它画出来。
So this is the expression of Professor Wang's mind, and how he views nature and man, as Chinese culture always promotes the harmonious of man and culture. So as you can see on the painting, it tells you the traditional Chinese culture, but also blends with some of the Western styles.
这个画呢，不是我在画的是什么，关键是你对方想的是什么。
So it's not about what I paint, it's about what you think about this painting.
它是自由的，让大家想象。
It's full of imagination, it's freedom. So you can think it whatever it is, but it should be from your mind, your heart.
而且是不是我在画画，是互动的，是对方在画画，是我在表述。
So it's not just myself painting this picture. It's a subject. It's very abstract. So just like I'm interacting with a subject to come up with a nice painting.
所以这就是我提出的，是普世主义绘画的超象阶段，就是关注人的心灵的思考和心灵的发挥，和感觉上的一种发挥，它不是我的，是对方的。
So this is the expression of transcendental imagery. Actually, I just learned this word today from Professor Wang's website, because this is the highlight of his painting. So what he wants to focus is, he wants the painting actually is not, from himself. It's from someone else or something else. So it's kind of like a philosophy, but it's very abstract.
最后我画的什么我也不知道，只有大家知道。
At the end, I'm not sure what I painted, but you will know it.
但是这个画的奥妙呢，就是在于你现场去看它的层次，它就像那个季节，这张画叫季，我想到的季就是秋季、冬季，就是红叶绿树、红叶，金色的时代，但是水是蓝天给予的。
So the highlight of this painting is about how the transparency of each color, especially is depicting the current fall season in Boston. So you guys can come forward just to see closer about this painting, to feel it. So please feel free to come forward, but don't touch it. That's the rule. Come. Maybe you can let Professor Wang know what you see from this painting, from the first stage of this picture. So the behind, actually, Professor Wang just mentioned, it's like a range of trees. It should express it by itself, by the painting itself. It's like, it's movable. If you see it closer, if you view it from the bottom of your heart, you can see actually the nature is moving. So that's what he wants to show us, what he wants to demonstrate from his painting. He used the traditional Chinese ink, ashes. Some of the printing materials, the color, actually is from the plants, from the type of the plants. So after the first stage, there will be 2 more stages to finish the whole painting, for the demonstration. So everyone, since we have limited time today, only 1 hour for Professor Wang, but he agrees to finish the second stage of this picture. So now Professor Wang is going to demonstrate the second stage. So each piece actually has 2 layers of different pictures. So now he's just hang the first layer on the wall. Mr. Swan just said, as you may see, these pictures are simple, but actually they contain variety of techniques behind. Professor Wang just said, let you guys feel it. You can imagine any of the pictures in your mind. The first stage and second stage just completed. So Professor Wang is asking, what do you think about it? What do you guys think about the paintings? Look at over there. The feeling of the painting comes from that scene. You can do a comparison. So Professor Wang is going to add some details on the base of his painting. So now he's painting some foliages. So this is a maple tree. So now you see the foliage on the maple tree. So he used white ash to paint the bamboos. Professor Wang said that the last piece is almost done. Actually, I was chatting with two of our experienced audiences. They suggest they feel like the painting just like the book. It depends on how you read it and how you think about it. So nobody has the exact answer of this painting, but really it's up to what you think about it. Yeah. So Professor Wang is going to give the title of his painting, Harvest Season. In Chinese, these are the Chinese characters, say, season for harvest. This is the Chinese way of completing artwork. So this is his personal stamp. He's going to have his valuable signature on these valuable paintings.
这个首先感谢今天的科瑞特校长和这位校长先生能给我这位校长先生能给我安排今天这样一个好的机会。
First of all, I would like to thank President Caret and Chancellor Motley to give me this such a wonderful opportunity to come to UMass Boston to show my artwork.
这个给大家在这百忙之中，给我这么宝贵的时间，我向你们表示感谢。
I really appreciate for your valuable time to come here to join me to see my work.
我想我这种自由式的方式的绘画，能给每一位女士、先生们、教授们、老师们、朋友们带来快乐。
I hope my paintings can bring joyfulness and happiness to every one of you here today.
相信你们，我画的画，相信你们永远会记得住。因为为什么呢？因为它没有什么样的，什么样的障碍，它完全是一种自由的、心灵的、一种自我的，是你对方画的，不是我画的画。所以大家一定会记得住，谢谢。
I believe everyone will remember my paintings. It's because the explanation should be coming from your bottom of heart. It's not from me, myself.
Thank you, 谢谢。
What a beautiful piece of work that we have here. Another round of applause for our Professor Wang. We want to thank you for sharing with us today. And we're so grateful for everyone for coming out. I was supposed to tell you to go to the reception, but I heard all the cookies are gone. So we are so grateful to both of you. Thank you, President Caret. Let's enjoy each other. Come up close and take a look. Don't touch, but take a closer look at the wonderful work. One more round of applause for Professor Wang.